I think some of the challenges that young leaders face is expectation from the society. And in this case, it's a mutual kind of, it comes in a mutual kind of sense, where the society will expect more from a young leader, whereas a young leader, number one, needs mentorship, needs guidance, needs support from the same society. And also, we're talking of imposter syndrome. A young leader will always tend to look at this society that I'm giving back to. I need something from the society, not understanding that even sitting in a leadership role, it's when you're also searching for fulfillment. So it doesn't have to be that you give back. It doesn't have to be that you expect something back from society that is already trying to support you, that is already trying to mentor you, that is already trying to provide guidance to you. Yeah.
Hello everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to another amazing episode of Before 18. Before 18 is a show which focuses on children who do spectacular things in the society and adults who impact the lives of children in our society. My name is Manasseh and I will be hosting today's episode, and I have an amazing guest and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, it's a pleasure. I'm so excited to be here. I'm also excited to hear that I'm the first guest in Before 18 this year, 2025. So it's an honor and it's a pleasure. My name is Mark Okeri. I am the founder of Lead as Leaders. It's a community-based organization that solely focuses on building, nurturing, and unleashing young leadership potential. We also focus on value-based leadership because that is what we tend to achieve in a few years' time. I am also a podcaster, a co-host at This Is Life podcast, where we share our life stories, we share our journeys, we share these experiences in life, and we show people that, number one, nothing is new under the sun. Everything that happens under the sun is totally the same. There are people who are experiencing the same challenges, the same new experiences. So we just want to air that and share with people that this is life. I am also an 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 alumnus and as well as a student. I'm a civil engineering student, graduating very soon. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. So Mark, you've mentioned 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 and you'd love to know, how has your journey been from 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 to now that you are now leading your own leaders and also This Is Life podcast?
Interesting question. Now, when I joined 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 in 2017. Back then, I had finished my 𝐾CPE and I had no means of joining my dream school. Yes, I am a 𝐼𝐦𝐭𝐡 High School alumnus. My alma mater. So yes, in 2017 I joined 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 and it has been an incredible journey. Now 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 is no longer a foundation or rather just a mere organization. It is home, it is family, and 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 has been able to carry me throughout Form 1 to Form 4, mentorship, all the same, motivation, encouragement, so that even now when I finished my Form 4 education, I was now able to understand that I have to give back. That to whom much is given, much is needed. So I was able to now give back, now give back to 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 as not only an alumnus, but also as a volunteer, whereby I take part in mentoring the students. I take part in ensuring that the well-being of these students are more better than how mine was. And that is 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴. It's still running till today. And our tagline in 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐿𝐴 is watoto wasome, because lazima watoto wasome. Yeah.
Yeah, and listening to you, I can hear all those, everything you're talking, and your whole life is about leadership.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the leadership roles that you have found yourselves in, and that's what the ones that you've assumed, the ones that you've taken since you were young?
Well, I think when a part of my journey, my life story is now part of leadership. I also tend to think that leadership is also my calling, because it's not easy for someone to come up with their own initiatives of different aspects, but they're also aligned to their own personal stories and personal values as well. When I was in primary school, and I tell people this a lot, but they do not believe. They do not believe. I took part in being an entertainment prefect when I was in primary school. And it was back in the days. I think the new generation better. They can't relate of the famous DJ Afro, DJ Smith. Those were our guys. So yeah, I was an entertainment prefect in primary school. Now transitioning to high school, I was in Form 2. They choose captains in Form 2s in Mangu, but I didn't get the slot as much as I wanted to join. Now getting to Form 3, the same. They were choosing leaders, but I failed, and I asked myself why. And it even rang in my mind that, hey, if Mangu is not my place, then maybe outside Mangu, I can be a leader. Fast forward to Form 4, that is in 2021, and that was after COVID, and I was able to facilitate match races from the old boys, and they went to a children's home. Now that way, advocating for the school, the name of the school, the next day I'm told, we've seen what we've been able to do, and we know you've always wanted to be a captain in this school, so do a letter requesting how you want to be a leader and everything. And so excited, I did just that. And that Friday on the same week, I was able to be appointed as the pioneer of a new leadership role, as the utility captain. You not maybe know this, but yeah, it's a utility captain, new sheriff in town.
All right. All right, and from being a utility captain to now spearheading your own leaders, can you tell us a bit about leaders, what it does, and how it is shaping our generation to take on leadership roles?
All right. Back to when I was in high school, I got a habit of speaking when there are assemblies, and it kind of boosted my public speaking skills. So I started my public speaking skills when I was in Form 2, around 15 years, and I've been able to grow with that all the same, even until till today. And just with that, I'm able to understand that leadership and communication go hand in hand, because you cannot be a leader when you cannot communicate. Now, fast forward to now, I am one of my friends has started her own initiative, and I wondered, what of myself? And it took around a whole 6 months asking myself, what can I do? What can I do to give back to the society? And then I realized, I sat down and I remembered that I was once a leader. I am still a leader. And with that, I was able to now come up with leaders, because we want people who are leading as leaders. And now came leaders, and we are solely focused on promoting value-based leadership. It's now a community-based organization, and we just want to promote dynamic, visionary, authentic leaders who are now driving sustainable growth in a society.
And what is your picture? What is the picture that comes to your mind when the name leadership is mentioned? What comes to your mind
when leadership is mentioned? Good question. Now, when leadership is mentioned, I think of how the world will be, not only as a nation, but globally, how the nation will be how it will all be in 10 years time, in 20 years time.
Yeah.
I tend to think of it as a moment whereby people will value ideas first. Where ideas will be able to come first. And that way you're able to understand that people are idea centered. Where people will be able to sit down and listen to a leader speak. And when they speak, what are you taking out of it?
Yeah.
Are you taking someone who is someone who is proud, someone who is humble, someone who is gentle? And when you listen to their ideas, you're able to see into their mind as well. Is this someone who is of knowledge? Is this someone who is of character, of wisdom? So in a few years' time, when leadership is mentioned, I see a world whereby people value ideas first. And when they value ideas, it means we are able to fast track development. We're able to fast track education in all different sectors. Maybe I can go back to the previous question. And leaders, we do webinars, we do mentorship, we do civic engagement, and even community development programs. And looking at our core objective is mainly to ensure that we mentor. This year, we are focusing on mentorship. And I tell my team, if we don't achieve mentorship, if we don't achieve impact through mentorship, we will have failed. So we are solely seeking to ensure that we are mentoring these young student leaders, these leaders who have ideas and want to bring them to life, and they are at the top of the game. Then how are they carrying it forward? So that is basically leaders. And when leadership is mentioned, I see a world whereby ideas come first.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's true, especially when we say that a nation is as good as a leader.
True.
And a company is as good as a leader.
Of course.
I think leadership is something that is very vital and very vital in our society.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think are the challenges that leaders face in their day-to-day, especially being a leader from your young age?
So young leaders face a couple of challenges, and I think the biggest of it all is imposter syndrome, whereby you tend to compare yourself with another young leader, a young leader in the climate sector. You see another leader in the ICT sector, you see another leader in the medical space, you see another leader in the industry, in the artist space, and you ask yourself, well, where am I left behind? So there's that bit of an imposter syndrome, and there's imposter syndrome. Number two, there is balancing responsibilities, whereby you, for example, such as myself, it's not impossible for me to balance my responsibilities, but rather I have to prioritize my responsibilities first. So I look at what is necessary, what is my key objective. Number one, I am a student. I have to ensure that my grades and my performance come first. Then number two, my leadership skills. How am I promoting my own organization as leaders? Number three, look at family. How am I able to interact with my own family? Because family comes first. Family is home. So I also ensure that family is part and parcel of my own priorities. And so it comes down to, as an individual, it's not of balancing responsibilities, but rather how are you prioritizing your responsibilities. And finally, I think some of the challenges that young leaders face is expectation from the society. And in this case, it's a mutual kind of it comes in a mutual kind of sense, where the society will expect more from a young leader, whereas a young leader, number one, needs mentorship, needs guidance, needs support from the same society. And also, we're talking of imposter syndrome. A young leader will always tend to look at this society that I'm giving back to. I need something from the society, not understanding that even sitting in a leadership role, it's when you're also searching for fulfillment. So it doesn't have to be that you give it doesn't have to be that you expect something back from society that is already trying to support you, that is already trying to mentor, that is already trying to provide guidance to you. Yeah.
So what motivates you to do everything that you're doing? You're doing This Is Life podcast. You're also doing leaders. You're also volunteering. You're doing all those kinds of things. What is that that makes you wake up every day and not give up and still want to do good for the society?
Well, let me say there's this title of a certain book that I really admire, and the second part of it is retiring young. I would wish to retire young.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest dream. If I'm able to retire young, having fulfilled whatever I have planned for myself, and I know these plans, they are not of my strength as well. It's there's divine intervention from God. So if I'm able to do all that with the grace of God, then I believe retiring young is not impossible. Even as well, to also see that I've been able to raise the standards of my family. Sometimes I sit down and ask myself that these are the people who I've been able to grow up with, and I'm seeing their standards as well. I am able to understand that I have to be better than my parents, I have to be better than my family. And how am I going to do that? By raising their own standards, having fulfilled my own dreams. And lastly, when I get to 10 years time, I would want to say that I want to be the person who I envision when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, because I believe every day is an opportunity for myself to grow. And when in 10 years time I would have grown, I would have experienced, I would have gotten the guidance that I need, the support that I need, and that way I'll be able to see myself now when I'm 30. I'll be able to envision myself when I'm 40, envision myself when I'm 50. That way. Right. Those are my three motivations why I wake up every day and do what I do.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. And what advice would you give to someone who wants to get to where you are? Probably they're wondering how they can get there with their own challenges. What advice would you have for that young person who wants to pioneer things that you have?
Let me answer when it comes to pioneering things. It's not easy, but all the same, I think it will be able to provide enough ground. For myself, it has provided enough ground for myself to be able to understand that this is what I want, this is what I want for others, and this is what I think will be able to carry me throughout my life, because number one, it brings fulfillment. Because when you're touching the lives of people, there's a lot of fulfillment coming out of it. And talking of not financial, but leadership roles. When it comes to leadership roles, even as a young leader, I won't say it is hard, but it's not easy as well, being a young leader. But for myself, I always say, I look at my family, I look at the people who have been able to support me till today, I look at how far I've been able to come. I have been there through that whole process, through my life story. I've been able to see how am I able to interact with people, how am I able to navigate through life, how am I able to maneuver across these challenges. If I'm able to provide the same to someone else, if I'm able to provide the same guidance to someone else, there'll be a lot of fulfillment. So it also comes down to you as a young leader. Look at where you've come from and where you want to go. That way it will provide enough ground for yourself. So find ground for yourself and be happy even when you're pioneering big things, or let me say the dreams that you want to achieve. Be happy in that leadership role. It will come with its own challenges, but look at the fulfillment part of it. Look at the bigger picture of it. I look at a bigger picture whereby I have an audience, I have a community of people who will always tend to say, because of leaders that have been able to step up into the ICT space. It's because of leaders that have been able to grow in this production space. and that way there's a lot of fulfillment. For example, I being an affecto alumnus, there's a lot I have to say about it, because I will always tend to say thank you. No thank you will ever be enough because of how far affecto has been able to carry me in life. That is the same that I would want also for leaders. Yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about the podcast that you're having. This is live podcast, and it's a bit different than most of the podcasts that you have.
Yeah.
You're chosen to get into a few topics
Yeah.
that you will really love, the youth and all your target audience to grow even as they continue that. Can you tell us a bit about your podcast?
As I said earlier, nothing is new under the sun, and that is what we are focusing as this live podcast. We are as well looking to broaden our perspective in terms of even storytelling, whereby I think our most recent episode is on children, and looking at it from that perspective, we were able to look at how has our childhood been, how have we been able to grow, what are the challenges we have faced, broken homes and depression and all that in childhood, because nothing, even that is not new under the sun. There are people who have been able to prosper despite those challenges. So we provide stories, we provide that platform, and this year we're looking forward to bring on board more guests who will be able to share their own stories as well, and also grow as this live podcast.
All right, thank you. And thank you so much for tuning in to this amazing episode. And I was having Mark Okeri, who is a leader who has done a lot of amazing things. Until next time, bye.
Cheers.